What's going on, guys? This is Livin here, and I want to show you guys some Incursions gameplay for you guys. I'm going to be focusing on the tanker class for this video just because I kind of find it interesting that they have a tank in this competitive 5 vs 5 mode. I kind of want to see how it's all played out, how they're going to plan on balancing this out and making it all work. What you're looking at here is the very beginning of the loading screen when you guys get to choose what class you want to be. And when you choose your class, you can select on it and get more information on it. So I thought I would just kind of start the video off, kind of give you an idea of the progression of ranks that you go through in the game, which basically kind of unlocks you perks while you're playing this game in competitive mode, and will kind of make it give you kind of easier little perks to help your tank do better in that round. So as you can see at the very beginning, you start off with rank 1 and you have the wrench monkey, which basically it's everything for your armored car or for your tank, where you're just able to heal your or repair yourself. So you're the only one on the field that has that, and so you're gonna be able to repair your tank. If you're able to progress and move up to rank 2, you're then going to get what's called just a dent, where the driver will be passively will be able to repair itself when it's out of the combat area. So basically, if you get yourself out of combat where you're not being fired at and you're out of the actual play, and you kind of like want to hide yourself somewhere in a sense, you can then begin to passively, you'll begin to heal yourself where you won't need to jump out of your truck at all. And so that is going to be available again for both classes, so for both the armored car and for the light tank. But when it comes to the actual specific of the tank, you're going to have, for the armored car, you're going to be able to deploy a medic bag and an ammo crate. And for the light tank, you're going to be able to use smoke to give yourself cover. So that's going to be unlocked on rank 2. When you move over to rank 3 though, both vehicles will have a reload speed will be increased. For the F-17 though, light tank, you're going to get a 37mm case shell. So it's an anti-infantry ammunition that fires like a shotgun shell, like blast, a small projectile. So it's no longer that cannon that's going to be shooting out, where you can shoot the cannon if you want to, but you can again swap then to more of an infantry style shell that you would use. And then when you move over to the armored car, you then get a 20mm auto cannon. So it improves the primary weapon, allowing you to use direct damage to the vehicle and splash damage to infantry. So when you're before rank 2 with your light or for your armored car, you can't even put any damage really on any of the tanks that you're shooting at. But if you were to get to rank 3, you then are able to use more of a powerful cannon that's involved, and it's kind of like an AA cannon, you could say. And with that, you can then be able to put damage on a tank. So let me show you guys a little bit of now some of the gameplay, what we got going on here. So just right off the bat, what is kind of interesting is you cannot fire at all unless you're in first person view with the tank. So you can drive in third person, but you cannot fire. So that is kind of interesting how they're trying to bring it into that mode right there. That automatically in itself is kind of hard a little bit getting used to, from at least from my perspective. You have so much muscle memory of just being able to shoot from third person. So going to first person will be kind of interesting. And maybe some of those people who have played the hardcore real-life version of Battlefield 1 might have a little bit more of an advantage on us who've been playing more just the kind of casual, regular retail part of the game. So as you can see here, I'm kind of rolling up on the side from behind. I kind of want to get a good angle on this tank as I see him rolling up. He just misses me, so I'm going to try to roll up from behind him. So I want to get a good jump onto him. When it comes to repairing, it is a little bit interesting because you can't really at all repair yourself at all unless you're outside your tank. So that second perk that you do get, where you're passively begin to repair your tank, is nice. It is kind of slow though, but if you're going to want to repair your tank at all, you're going to have to jump out of your tank to repair yourself. So that is interesting in itself, as this guy's trying to run away from me. And I'm going to roll up here over by B. Again, it's a little bit, for me, getting a little bit used to the fact of having to swap out from my third person to my first person. Because when you're in first person, it's just kind of hard to see just in general anything that's going on. And everything's such close quarters, and kind of trying to destroy some of the environment's a little bit tough. Like the tank doesn't like shooting at walls or like that. Seems to, I don't know if it's just the alpha mode or what it is, but it's been kind of a grind a little bit trying to shoot through walls. So my option has been just kind of been bulldozing everything and running over everything as much as I can as I destroy that guy right there. And I'm going to kind of flank around, watching around, kind of watching my sides here a little bit. Doesn't take much to really put out much of the damage on the tanks. It feels, again, it feels very, very different just from how you would be playing generally on the, the regular retail version of the Battlefield game. I would have to say it's basically a different game altogether. Like, it feels differently. I don't really know exactly if the actual damage from these grenades is anything different, but it definitely feels like it doesn't have to take much to take your tank out. But just in general, everything just feels very different. Just from the general perspective of you playing games, you can see there I'm already can't even move right now. So the only option I have to heal myself is I have to get out of the tank and start healing myself, or repairing myself. Would be the right term to use. And then before I can even do anything, I get destroyed. So that was the field gun, I think, that shot me from behind right there. So I think that is kind of accurate to how the game is played. So there are 2 shots from the field gun that can do damage onto you. So as you can see right there, I did get myself destroyed. So I'm just going to jump on ahead here and get back to where I can get inside my tank again. So as you can see there in the bottom left, right above my squad members' names, it gives you like a countdown to when the tank respawns. And I think it's like 110 seconds until it respawns back in the game. So that is kind of nice. It does let you know that you're the only one, of course, that can get into the tank and use this tank. So you don't have to really be anything concerned about anyone not using the tank. So for instance, if you jump out of your tank and someone kills you, the moment you respawn back into the game, the tank explodes, and it actually stays in the game itself. So I was listening to the devs talk about it, and they said because it's such a small player count that they can actually keep this type of the memory in the game. They can actually keep your actual tank where it died, and it'll actually stay where that spot is at throughout the rest of the game. So you actually have a exploded tank right there that gives you kind of a new environmental thing in there in the game that you can kind of like move around with and use for cover and whatnot. So it does not reset, and it will stay in the game as you see me jump out here and start to repair myself really quick. So very interesting. Kind of one thing I have noticed is when I'm repairing myself, you do jump in the front part of the tank, and some people are watching you while doing that, and they can shoot you before you go in the tank, and you're fine. That's probably going to happen a lot more often than it usually does in the regular version of the game when you're playing like conquest or operations or whatnot. So what I've kind of noticed is I've kind of like either would want to like turn my tank around where my backside's being shown, or I just kind of just get myself into cover as quick as I can. When you kind of put yourself through the backside, I mean, at least you can get into the tank in a way where they can't shoot you from behind, when you're going in your tank, but they're gonna hit your backside, which is the weakest part of this tank right here. As you can see that that artillery weapon that shot me up from the top earlier shot me in from behind and shot me in the weakest part of my tank and exploded me. So that is kind of something you want to do. Kind of want to be careful of as the other light tank comes up here and is shooting at me, and I'm being attacked from the side. So all the enemy team really has as of right now. They have some anti-tank grenades, as you can see that one class does, and I've seen a limpet charge as well. I think that same class that threw that anti-tank grenade has a limpet charge as well. So the same individual who had that grenade had the limpet charge, as I just missed that player right there, and he's unfortunately going to take me out right here. So but yeah, that's what for right now. Through all they have, there's no mines, there's no AT rocket gun, so it is interesting how that is right now. Of course, this is the alpha mode. This is all subjected to change and whatnot, so we'll see how it goes for right now. But it's kind of in a sense how they're kind of balancing out. And so far, what I've experienced, yeah, there's been a lot of I haven't seen much of dominating from the tank on my side or from anyone else's side really as of right now as I've been playing it. So here I'm going to show you guys some of the passive repair that can happen with your tank. So as you can see, I'm at 51 right now, and because I have unlocked level 2, as you can see there, you'll be highlighted completely on the bottom right, where you can see the tank part in the middle with the little repair thing right there in it. And because I have that completely highlighted, it's as you can see, I'm slowly beginning to repair myself without even having to jump out and use my repair kit. It is not very fast at all, so you probably would be better off if you're in a safe area just to jump out and heal yourself just in general. But that's kind of how it looks like. As you see me there switch to my other cannon, which is the level 3 unlock that you get Again, this does progress just in the game by the score that you get. So as you keep accumulating points, you are progressing the game and being able to unlock this. And you'll see it on your bar as you begin to progress and unlock it as it's going on through the game. So I'm gonna jump out here really quick, just kind of heal myself or just repair myself because it's much quicker to be able to do that right there. And then I'm gonna jump back in and see what I can do from there. So that's kind of, again, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what that passive repair is like, as well as kind of what you're gonna have when you unlock that cannon. Alright, now I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of what the armor car looks like. So I have it already where I'm unlocked all of it to level 3, so I do have that more powerful cannon on this weapon. So it is just kind of the same way that you is for the light tank here, where if you're gonna want to shoot, you have to go in the first person mode. But as you can see here, it's definitely going to be speed-wise going to give you a little bit of the advantage. Now, of course, you can only be in the armored truck, so none of your teammates can jump in there. You can't move anyone around, anything like that. So it's only for you and you alone. But yeah, it is now finally the kind of the armored truck that you would have in the game if you wanted to shoot. You know, if you're in this armored truck and trying to drive around, you wish you could shoot. Well, you can do this now in this version of Incursions right here. So I'm kind of flanking from behind a little bit, seeing what exactly was going on. I feel like I could run a lot of people over actually with this, but you know, you do want to be careful because obviously the armor is going to be much weaker than it is on the regular game. So as you can see there, because of that extra cannon that I have right there, I'm going to do a lot more damage. Normally before, you can have that other cannon that normally comes with the light tank, and so it doesn't really have much of that splash damage at all. And so it's really not that great in my opinion. I haven't really liked it too much, especially if you're going up against another tank. I mean, you're kind of left to, you know, you better hope you have a really good aim, and you better hope, you know, you might be able to like move around the other tank if you're dealing with it. So I've been what I've been doing is kind of been grinding it up till I get to level 3 with my light tank, and then I've been grabbing the armored car from there, and then when I get that, I'm able to use the more powerful cannon with it. So I'm just kind of flanking, moving around a little bit, just kind of just shooting people, trying not to stay put for too long, just because I don't want to get caught off guard with the weaker armor on this truck right here. So trying to kill that guy right there, wasn't able to do it, so I'm just gonna keep rotating all the way around because I don't want to get him a good angle. From a little bit I played already, it seems like, you know, people don't forget where you're at. It's a very smaller map. It is very different. This is not even anywhere close to how the regular version of the map is in the retail version of the game. Yeah, so it is definitely, it's just very different. It's very different. You're even how the enemies look, like you'll see players, you know how scout classes look a certain way. But like you'll see a scout class look a certain way, right? But he has a different weapon, so it's no longer like you can look at someone and know, oh, that's a scout class right there. Just it's everything's different, and so it's just, yeah, it's like I said, it's a very, very different version of the game right here. I was actually hearing someone ask one of the devs in the live stream that they had yesterday about Incursions, and they said they asked them what's different about the Incursions from the retail version of the game. The guy was like, that's a very loaded question, you know, it's a big question. So there's a lot to it. It is gonna be different, and of course they got to do it this way because if they're gonna want to keep it 5 versus 5, they're going to, you know, you want to make sure it stays balanced, everything like that, especially with having things like tanks in the game. So from what I've heard already, the 5 versus 5 is only the reason why. From at least one reason I heard from them is they said that they wanted to not have a long load time when it comes to the game. So I found that kind of interesting. I haven't really experienced any too bad load times when it comes, you know, 32 versus 32 at all. I mean, at some obscure moments in the day, maybe on a Monday night or anything like that, but I haven't really experienced any really bad load times waiting for a game. So I'm kind of a little surprised that they were thinking that would be the problem, but you know, they know their systems more than I do, so you know, I'm just kind of take their word that they kind of want to lean on that part. Yeah, so that's kind of the reason, I guess, as I've heard them, one of the reasons at least why they're doing 5 versus 5 is this. I've always kind of thought that 32 versus 32 or even 12 versus 12 would be kind of, you know, interesting for competitive mode just because of how it would work. I think moving this whole competitive thing is good, and it should move into, you know, more of a competitive scene. You know, like EA or something like that can take a hold of this and start working it, and seeing what, you know, they can just bring more of a competitive feel to it. I think will help Battlefield in general. So I always kind of thought that would be kind of interesting if you saw these, like, you know, 12 versus 12 or even 32 versus 32, like teams, right, showing up with their sponsored jerseys and everything like that, and with all the sponsorship all over their attire and everything. I don't know. I just kind of find that kind of, I don't know, just not what I'm used to, right? So because I'm used to, again, coming from more of a Halo or Call of Duty background and seeing those type of things. So as you see me there, kind of getting that light tank was coming at me, so I just got myself in a higher ground just to get better position on him. And of course I do have the cannon. This cannon will put damage on him. If I don't have level 3 for my artillery, or for this artillery truck, this regular armored vehicle, I'm not gonna be able to put any damage on that tank right there. So it's something you want to be aware of when you're doing that. So lastly, I want to show you the weapons that the tanker class does use. So you have the option from jumping from the Frommer to the Piper 1893 as his primary weapon, and then you can move over into his sidearm and use the MLE 1903 or the Howder pistol. With the gadgets, you only have the 2 options for the 2 gadgets. So there's only the 2 that you can use is the health pack or the bandage pouch or whatever you want to call it, and then you can use the repair tool. So that's basically it when it comes to your gadgets. And then when it comes to your grenades, you have the option from the light anti-tank grenade to your gas grenade, and then you have of course the assortment of melee weapons you can use. There we go, guys. That's basically it for you guys today. I just kind of want to show you guys a little bit of what that's all about. Again, give kind of a little bit of tanker perspective. I found that class kind of in this Incursion mode just interesting, and seeing how they're going to be balancing it and kind of giving all the kind of different things that come along with it here. So we'll see how much more we can get into more Incursions. For now, it's a little difficult in the alpha mode right now, kind of getting into a game actually, just kind of how it's working. And I guess if one player quits in the load screen, the other 9 players didn't have to, the whole server resets, and the other 9 players are then kind of scattered about, and we kind of all have to go find another server, to get a game in. So it's been a little bit of a challenge getting the games, but we'll see how that comes out and turns out in the future here. But yeah, again, guys, that's basically it for you guys today. Thanks again for watching. I am Living, and I'll see you guys again later. Peace.